All right, if you're gearing up for the final exam in Professor Pahikala's Evaluating Machine Learning Methods course, then you are in exactly the right place. We are going to break down everything you need to know so you can walk into that exam feeling ready. Look, let's just get this out of the way. This stuff can be pretty challenging. Even the professor himself admits that he can get lost in the abstract mess. So if you've been feeling that way at all, hey, you're in good company. In this explainer, we're going to try to cut right through all that and give you a really clear, practical guide for the exam. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to decode the exam itself. Then we'll cover the basic rules. The rules of the game, you could say. After that, we'll look at the anatomy of a question, so you know what they actually look like. Then we'll break down what's on the test, and we'll finish up with what is probably the single most important idea to keep in mind. It's all about concepts over calculations. All right, so let's get right into it. We're decoding the exam. No more guesswork, no more surprises, just a straightforward guide to the final assessment. Okay, first things first, right? Let's talk about the rules of the game. You've got to understand the logistics before you can come up with a winning strategy. There are 3 really important rules you need to know. First off, the whole thing is multiple choice. Second, and this is a big one, there are no negative points for wrong answers. And third, and this is awesome, if you take it more than once, only your highest grade is kept. Yeah, the professor was super clear about this. His advice? If you don't know, you can guess. Think about what that means. You should answer every single question. There is absolutely no penalty for guessing. You can only gain points, you can't lose them. And don't forget that policy on multiple attempts. Seriously, that should be a huge stress reliever. It's like having a built-in safety net. You can give it a shot, see how it goes, and if you're not thrilled with your score, you can just try again, knowing that only your best performance is what matters in the end. So we've got the rules down, but what do the questions actually look like? The format's a little bit unique, so let's break it down. So as Professor Pahikala describes it, you're not always going to see a standard multiple choice question. A lot of the time, you'll be given 2 different statements, 2 different claims, and your job is to figure out which one of them, if any, is actually correct. And here's what that looks like in action. You might get a claim A that says something about optimistic bias, and a claim B that says something about the winner's curse. Then you have to choose. Is only A true? Is only B true? Are they both true? Or maybe are neither of them true? This format really tests if you understand how all these different concepts actually relate to each other. All right, we've got the logistics, we've got the question format. Now for the big one. What should you actually be studying? Well, the content really boils down to 2 main areas. So check this out. About 2/3 of the exam, the big chunk, is all about the general properties of estimators and the main concepts from the lectures. The other third or so will be more related to the stuff you did in the exercises. So yeah, the exercises are definitely important, but getting a really deep understanding of the general theory, that's the main event. Okay, now listen up, because if you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, this should be it. This is the core philosophy that should guide how you study. The professor could not have been more clear about this. He is going to give you the formulas you need. This is not a test of your memory. You don't have to remember all those equations, but you absolutely have to know what they mean and how to apply them. So what does that mean for you? It means you should shift your study time away from just rote memorization. Instead, ask yourself why a method works. Can you explain what an estimator is really trying to measure? Dig deep and get the intuition, the meaning behind these ideas. That's the key to crushing this thing. It really all boils down to this. The exam isn't about memorizing a toolbox full of formulas. It's about being a skilled craftsperson who knows which tool to use and when and why. So as you're preparing, just keep this one question in the back of your mind. Don't just learn the procedures. Make sure you're really wrestling with the underlying principles, because that is what this exam is truly all about. Good luck.